Hello, everyone. I'm alive. They say I'm alive, and I know I am alive. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to my show. Girl, who don't you know? It's a talk show with me, Marilyn Green. As you know, that's my bucket list, and I can check it off as I've done it. And excited about my show today, and excited about you guys joining in. And this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to continue in the same vein of talking about mental health issues that maybe perhaps you don't think has to do with mental health, but it does. Okay. Anger, grief, depression, sorrow, things that just mentally make you not feel good, after a period of time. Everybody may go through some depression, but a continual thing of depression on and off, or continue a long spell of it, you need to go see somebody. Okay, you need to go and see somebody so that you can find out what exactly is going on with me. So welcome again. So tell me where you're from. You can get into, oh, it's a comment already. Wait a minute here. Good evening, Maryland. Well, good evening to you, Annabelle. Okay, all the way from Freeport, Illinois, which for those who don't know is right next to Wisconsin. That's how far up it is in Illinois. So thank you for joining tonight. And so you forgot to tell me, Anna, where you're from. I just told everybody your business, right? But anyway, we're going to get started. And for those who are joining me for the first time, we really do engage our audience. We really want you to have a voice. So if it's something that is happening that you want to just jump in on, we want you to jump in. So, hey, tell me who you are and tell me where you're from. And maybe tell me something about your day. Was it good? Was it bad? Were you tired, or you don't want to go on and listen to me today and my guests? Don't put that in there. But anyway, anything you want to put in there, I'm okay. All right. So we'll get started in just a minute. But while we are waiting for everybody to jump on, this is what's going on. Now, my show is about transforming minds one show at a time. I'm about informing so you can make a really super great rational decision about things in your life. Now, if you want to be on my show, you can write me. I mean, I am always happy to have people on my show. You might be inventing something. You may want to talk about a subject or anything like that. I welcome you to come on. Okay. So tonight we're talking about road choices and mental health. Things that you do determines whether you're going left or right, determines which way you're going. So we're going to be talking about that today. But guess what? Girl, who don't you know in action? We're going to be having advertisement and sponsor packages. I'm going to have more shows per month. You get to see me more than 2 times. On the first Mondays, we're going to have sisters doing it. So if you know a sister that's doing it, and it may be anything. I've had a game inventor on. I've had a person who does a fashionista. I've had a bunch of different people on. So if you know someone, write me. Okay, find me on Facebook. Let's talk. Okay, I'm going to have a book club discussion show in which if someone comes on and they want to have a discussion later on with someone who purchases the book. Now, this is what I did last time. I purchased the book for like 4 people, and we're going to be coming back at some point. Once they get the book, we still working on it. Once they get the book and then they read it, then we're going to discuss it on my show live. Yes, that's something different, right? Okay, so I'm just moving on up like the Jeffersons. So I tell you what, just stay tuned for that. Again, if you know someone who wants to be on my show, please, please, please give them my email and tell them to write me, and let's do this thing. Let's see what the audience is saying. Fight, flight, and freeze. Darren Suggs, what you talk about? Hey, Darren, I'm glad you joined me. Okay, that's what you do with anger. You fight, you flight, or you freeze. I don't want to freeze. Okay, nah, I don't want that. Okay, I need to move. All right, so let's see here what I got here. All right. Okay. So my guest that I have coming on today is Mr. Corwin T. Watson. Okay. And he comes from St. Louis, Missouri. And I seldom ever have males on my show. So this is a little different here. I don't know why. But nevertheless, he has written a book called The Road to Nowhere, and it's about how I'm saving myself from self-destruction behavior that rules me. Okay. And on the cover of it is he has him like sitting in a dark cave with a opening that's light. And then he also has his hands on his head. Right there is a sign of I'm just frustrated. Okay. It's a very, very good book that is, I mean, he's vulnerable on this book. It's like, oh my goodness. Okay. So it's all good. Now let me see the comments here. Patricia Parker, I saw you today. What are you saying? Good to see you at RSHD. I got you. Eastside Health District. Yeah, I was just telling him I was there today to jump it off and reopen. Exciting. Good to see you, Patricia Parker. Always a pleasure. All right, let's go back to my banners and see what I can do here. So, hold on. I'm a baby boomer. Hear me roar. Okay, so I'm going to, wow, I'm really messing up today. I'm gonna have to give me somebody to help me. Hold on, y'all. Just hold on just a minute. As I get this off, I'm going to hide this. Okay. All right, let's go back to my banners and let's go to Mr. Watson's banners. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring up from the green room. I got a green room. I'm going to bring Mr. Corwin T. Watson up, and there he is. And
hello.
he is the author and inventor, and I really like his background. That background is looking pretty good. That's a real house. That's a real house.
Yeah,
Okay, it's not virtual.
I got the green screen up there.
Okay, right. Okay.
I can pull it down if I need to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just got it. I'm gonna show you.
Show it to me. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put it right on down.
That's fancy, man. Fancy, okay. I mean, but it's looking good in there. It's looking real cozy. It's looking like, hey, I'm ready to talk to y'all about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it's looking like. So welcome. And thank you so much for taking, I'll just say, the challenge to come on my show and talk about something I think is near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
Okay. Because your book, Road to Nowhere, and you guys really need to get this book because it's not normal, quote unquote, for men to be as vulnerable and just say, hey, I messed up. I did this. This stuff is ruling me. And he did display it all the way from the beginning of his life, and he took it all the way through. I'm not going to spoil it because you need to get the book, because it made me almost cry. I was trying to get myself together. It made me cry. It made me sad. It made me think about, as we sit over in different places, we don't even notice how things are really happening to other people in other places. Okay. Yeah. While we're sitting right here, somebody is being talked to bad, abused, all that kind of thing. Not to say there's not happiness other places, but there are things where people are being really, really messed up for life almost. So we're here today to talk about how some of the things that happened to you in the past really does not dictate your future. Okay. Right. If you decide to put the work in. Okay. So we have Mr. Watson here today. And like I said, he's an author and inventor. So welcome again. Okay.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so I'll start the questions off, and audience, you all just jump straight in, and you can come on and ask the questions that you want to ask him. But tell me a little bit about. I know where you're from, but tell people where you're from, because to know where this street is and what's up with it will really frame where we're going tonight. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
So I was born and raised here in St. Louis. Kind of lived all over the place, but I think what you're alluding to, what we'll talk about, is I grew up, for the most part, the most impactful part of St. Louis happened on the south side of St. Louis on a street called McCree. Mm-hmm. And I lived there for some time. Gang infested neighborhood, early '80s, or late '80s. It was traumatic, to say the least. And
Okay. Okay. It was
right there in
so.
St. Louis, McCree and Vandevender, if anybody familiar with that area.
Wow. Yeah, we are familiar with it. I am, because every time I didn't never say McCree, I say McRee. Okay.
McCree,
So
better known
yes,
as, as they called it, the dark side, as when
yes.
I grew up. Yeah,
And the dark side was because you grew up with shootings and gangs and
absolutely.
all those different things, And the thing about it and stuff, when I read your book, the main moving force in this that really moved you and structured your life was your mother. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And also, you talked about your father. Now, with your father, you said something that I said, "Oh my God!" You said something about he majored in being an alcoholic.
Yeah, it must have been
Okay.
a trade. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like it was a trade. What are you saying about that? Meaning that's just what he did all the time.
yeah. That's what he's. I never saw him without a bottle of Brass Monkey.
Whoa,
That
that
was his
is
drink of
80s.
choice, is what I stated in the book. It was
Right.
always in his back pocket, and he always smelled of alcohol when I saw him. And I
But
thought that's just how every dad was supposed to smell.
wow, wow. But the thing about it, you also said that even though he smelled like that, even though that was happening, you still loved him. You still
Sure,
you still wanted to be with them no matter
sure,
what.
I
Okay.
did. And yeah,
Okay, that's powerful right there. But it also is saying that that's all you knew.
yes,
Okay. That's
yes,
all you knew. And so the other driving force in here, I mean, and hey guys, when you got to get this book, it's some cuss words in there, CUSS, okay? CUSS words in there, okay? But he was so vulnerable to say this is how his mother treated him. And he just talked about how that made him feel and how he just built up anger and anger and anger. And then you also talked about, and I got my questions right here. I'm ready. Okay. You talked about pain train. What does that mean? A pain train. Okay. What is that?
yeah. You know what? Because it was this never ending this ride that I continued on, and that was I was constantly I was yearning for something. I was aching, and it was really destroying me inside. And I just couldn't seem to let go of it. It just was with me always. And so that's really what I meant by that pain train. It just kept chugging along. I couldn't let go of it.
You can let go. And so do you think the pain train kept picking you up like the Metro Link? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
At
And
different
it was
areas.
cost, and there was
Huh?
a great cost associated with it too. So
Right.
it's more expensive than MetroLink.
More expensive than Metro Link.
More expensive.
It was picking you up, but you know what? One thing you had to do, you had to get on it, right?
I had to get on it by choice. I
By
got on.
choice. That's the choice
Yes,
here. You had
absolutely.
to you had to get on. It's like how they say it's just calling my name. It
Yeah,
kept calling your name,
kept
and
calling my
you
name.
kept getting on.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, let me stop for a minute. Miss Mary Stapleton, all the way from Pearl, Mississippi. Good evening from MISSISSIPPI. I
There
say
you
this
go.
every week when she come, but she
How
didn't come.
you doing, Mary?
Mary, he said, "How you doing?" She gonna come back, okay? But anyway, so to get back into the story, that pain train kept picking you up. I think
Yes,
the pain train was just coming to your house. Just be
it
real.
was. It was there. That's where it was. It left the station there, and I
Oh
just
wow.
carried it out to the rest of the world.
Wow, wow. And so you kept building, and Miss Mary said, "Hello, I'm good. I know. All right." You kept allowing yourself to get on that train. You
Yes,
kept riding in it and stuff, and people were affected by your behavior. What are some of the
absolutely.
behaviors you used to do at school and at
Well,
just any place?
see, for a long time, this is just being very introspective as I got older. At the time, I was just angry, so that manifested itself into fights. And I lived in a neighborhood where you had to defend yourself too,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and going to school. And then because I felt lesser than, insignificant, I didn't feel loved at all. So I was always looking for some sort of affection. And then at one point, when I didn't get that, then I kind of stayed to myself. But the guy who stayed to himself sometimes, was the target. And
Yeah.
so as a result, I had to go crazy, to defend myself and show them that I wasn't to be,
Don't play with
be
me.
messed with. Yeah, don't play with me. I'm
Don't play
quiet,
with me.
staying to
I'm quiet.
myself. I got
Mm-mm.
problems at home. Leave
I
me alone.
got
You
they
know,
had they had problems at home too,
they
but
did.
But
They
you
did.
had problems and you were trying to just be quiet, just leave me alone. I don't want
Yes,
to deal with this and stuff, you know. But so all that aggression was building and
it
building
was
and building. I think you said something about you wanted to live like a family on TV because they had food.
more than anything. More than
Okay.
anything.
So
That
you
was
look
a
at
luxury.
TV, you see the people with food, you're like, I want to be like that, you know.
You
Wow.
know, I had a friend who lived near me, and I thought he was rich. I didn't think about it at the time, but
Hmm.
she received her food stamps just like my family did.
Okay.
But she obviously had more because we'd have all you can eat weekends. And
Wow.
man, I wanted to be at his house every weekend. She didn't care what we ate. We could stay up as late as we want, and that was a pleasure. That was life for me.
Wow.
To be able to
Wow.
go there and be able to pick what I wanted to pick out the cupboard to eat. You know,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
truly a luxury.
Yeah, it's funny and stuff. My sons now talk about me like a dog about that. Like he went to school. He said, "Mom, I was talking to a kid, and he was talking about something about." I said, "What?" He said, "Going to the grocery store." I'm like, "What is that?" Okay, he talk about me, and I'm like, "Man, you ain't starving."
Right.
Okay,
There
what
you
are you
go.
talking about? He has food in his refrigerator, and I'm like, "You're not starving though."
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but everybody wants to be like another family,
Sure.
especially when things are not the way that they think it should be in their family.
Yes. That's
Okay.
true.
And so this is the part that that I read in here that you says that you had a desire to be shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when that was gonna prove, hey, I'm bad or what? What happened?
As idiotic as it sounds, it's very common, right? Like, because, and I always say this often when I talk to young people, young black men specifically, we have a yearning, we want to belong.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point when you're missing a father, you know how they say don't miss what you never had?
That's
Well,
right.
that's a
That's right.
lie. That's not true. So
Okay.
that's what I meant by, my father being there and I still loved him. It was because he was away. It was something that I was yearning for. I was yearning for that
Mm-hmm.
connection to play baseball, to go out with him and talk with him. But I only
Right.
saw him every now and again. So when I didn't have that, I gravitated to the what I thought was the cool part, seeing the gang members do what they do. And when I first saw my first drive by and they pull out guns and all that stuff, I was enamored by it because that was
Right.
my way of being accepted and being a part of a family where I could feel love because I thought that that's what they were displaying with each other was love and how they dealt with each other. But yes, idiotic as it was, a lot of black men I've talked and they have felt the same way.
Wow.
That sense of belonging. And if you got shot and you got your stripes and then, you know, I was bigger than life.
Wow, wow. Okay, Beverly Snodgrass. Good evening, everyone. Okay, good
Hey, what's
evening to
going
you.
on, Auntie?
That's your Auntie Bev. How you doing? Okay. Thank you for tuning in to support. Okay, I appreciate you greatly. Okay, yeah, the desire to get shot. And then you said something about uh at 12 you had a whole bunch of anger and aggression. So what I hear is it's an old song, ball of confusion, ball of anger that just kept on going and going and going and going. But I know that you knew that you needed to get off the train, as we talked about
Not
earlier,
at the
right?
time.
Not at the time. Well, tell us
No,
about
because
that.
at the time, I mean, I liken it to having like a small child that was attached to me. I was feeding, I was giving life to it.
Oh, wow.
And so it continued throughout my adolescence. It wasn't until my adult life where light bulbs started to go off. Until then, up until that point, I was just angry, and I didn't know why I was so angry. I mean, I knew my father wasn't there, but I didn't put words to it. I knew that
Right.
my mother, I didn't feel that love for my mother, but I didn't put words to it.
Mm.
So I was just angry.
Right. Well, Mississippi Mary said, "Boys in the Hood props." What you talking about? Or what
Right.
it was? You was living in the midst of that. You
Yes.
know. Wow, that's something. And when you say you didn't put words to it, I think that Miss Tracy uh came and told you to put words to it. Is
She
that
did.
the first person? How did you find Miss Tracy anyway? And tell people about Miss Tracy.
So Miss Tracy was a counselor. Actually, I went to Agape Christian Center because I eventually had given my life over to Christ, but I was lukewarm and walked straddling that fence, if you will.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
so but I knew I had this deep yearning to change my life. And then that
Mm-hmm.
anger was still affecting my life and my relationship specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had gone to a number of different Agape Christian Center, and I had tried different counselors, and I'd go long enough just to become the Black Dr. Phil. And then my narcissism told me I got it all figured out. You
Oh
know
wow.
what you're doing. And then I stopped. And then eventually when things got worse and started to snowball, I eventually tried it one last time, and I met Tracy, and she was the first person who actually I felt like cared. And she's
Okay.
just doing her job, but I felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Mm-hmm.
how she responded to me and allowed me to talk and open up, and the questions that she would ask made me more vulnerable than I had ever been before.
Wow. So why did you allow Tracy to take you there? I liken it unto the Bible. It's the same Bible, but I done
Mhm.
heard it a million times. The Lord is my shepherd. But when
Right.
I heard it from Pastor Jones, it just sparked. So why did Tracy spark for you?
And that's what's so I don't think I've quite figured that out yet. I think part of it was also leaning toward my whole psychosis, the things that was going on internally in terms of like ultimately seeking a mother figure too. And I
Mm-hmm.
think she came off that way. She was very compassionate, and I don't think I had experienced that before. And
Okay.
and just really just made me feel comfortable enough that I decided that, hey, look, I was going to be vulnerable, just
Okay.
say what was really bothering me.
Right. And I love that and stuff because I want to add link onto that if you are going to see a counselor, therapist, or whatever, everybody is not going to be a good fit for you.
Very
Okay.
true.
And you have to recognize that, but don't just give up in the midst of it. Now, Mr. Watson here said his narcissism kicked in. Tell us about your narcissism. What did
See,
it do? It just kicked
uh,
in and said, you got this, man.
you
You ain't
got
gonna
it.
be going to see this lady.
You smarter than everybody else. You are the Black Dr. Phil. You got this. You can read. You read a lot. You very well versed on this and that, and so you can figure it out. You can heal yourself. And so, if I were to redo that book, it's not what healing myself from the self-destructive behaviors. It's
Mhm.
God who is helping me heal myself.
Right.
Who is
Right.
healing me from the self-destructive behaviors that rules me. And I made it present tense for a reason, because these are things that I still struggle with every day, right?
Mhm.
Because trauma affects your brain. This isn't something you just shake off. You don't become a narcissist, develop those behavior patterns, and then all of a sudden it goes away. I have to work at being an empath. I have to work at being more compassionate and understanding and not being self-absorbed. And so these are the things that even something as simple as I used to post all these pictures on Facebook. Now I may put a quote up on my story as opposed to just my pictures.
Wow.
It's things
Wow.
like that that I look for and try to curb.
Wow. Wow. Well, Miss Mary said the reason why you chose Miss Tracy is because she spoke with genuine care, concern, and compassion. And she
Absolutely.
was speaking directly to him. And she's clapping her hands. She's probably saying, Praise God. Okay.
Absolutely.
And
Praise
so
God.
Miss Anna said, trying to heal myself almost cost me my life.
My God.
Okay, wow, Anna, trying to heal yourself. And that really speaks about please go get help. If you're looking at me live right now, or if you're doing the hashtag replay, please just go get help. If you're not feeling good, you don't feel good. Just stop it. Okay. You just don't feel good, and it will cost you your life
Yes.
if you don't try to start to get healed. So yeah, that's thanks Anna for that, because
Absolutely.
I'm sure Anna got a story to tell for sure.
But there's such a negative stigma associated with getting the help that we need, and
Mhm.
and we have to do away with that. We have to say, when we need a doctor, when we're sick, we go to the doctor or whatever. And God uses people, right, to
Yes.
work through people, the spirit. And so we have to. It's okay to go to a therapist and seek help when, especially for me, as I was, having suicidal ideations,
Mhm.
and I was very angry. And these are things that I couldn't work out myself. I had to understand my brain and how it was working, and understanding what was truly affecting my brain and how I was responding before I can even start the process to even be healed.
Wow. Wow. Now that's powerful right there because you don't know if you don't know, kind of like,
Yes.
like
Mhm.
I got to start the process. I got to jump in somewhere that somebody can help me, you know. But I love the fact, but excuse me, not that I love the fact, but I think that talking about the fact that go through the whole thing. Don't jump in and to start being narcissistic.
Yes, yes. And oftentimes we don't know that we narcissist,
Excuse me.
right? Because it's not a diagnosis, it's just a behavior, right? And so we go through life and we're functioning in our dysfunction, and we don't realize that this is the cause of it. Like these behavior patterns is causing the damage in your personal life, whether it's professionally or your relationship. And so
Yes.
sometimes you need that professional to listen to you and kind of
Hmm.
point out things that you didn't realize before.
That's right. I'm gonna put this up here because I need to answer Mr. Robert Rich. Did you go to Lincoln Senior High School? I graduated in 1975. Robert Richards, I don't know if you're talking to him or me, but I didn't go to Lincoln. I went to East Side where the Flyers are, okay?
There you go.
And I graduated in 74. So let me just go on and date myself. Hello. All right. So that's the answer, Robert Richards. Okay. So I had to throw that in there.
There
Okay.
you, right,
But,
right.
but anyway, like Annabelle said, it's the truth, you know, to make sure that you get the help you need. Your help don't look like my help. Okay. I don't
Right.
look like you.
Mhm.
Okay. You
Sure.
don't know what type of demons I got or what's bothering me, you know. And I think Anna said that she says sometimes people have a desire to be a certain way, meaning they trying to mimic somebody else.
Mhm.
To others, they think it was wonderful, but follow them home. Their situation is not the way it seems.
Mhm.
Okay. And so with that, I remember you said something about uh um uh big brothers and big sisters, how it saved you. Did it save you, or what part did it play?
Well, it just showed me a different way of life. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was used to my environment. I was used to the lack of empathy and love and compassion within my house, and a lot of siblings, and struggling to eat and all these things. And big brother and big sister partnered me with somebody who again shared those same qualities that Tracy had. They was very compassionate, they were loving, they had a loving relationship, and they were willing to take somebody in, and
Wow.
show them this. So I got to, I went to church with them. I, went out to eat. I mean, it was just, I wanted to escape my reality. And that's really what it came down to.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it was just it was a blessing to have experienced that.
Right. And also, let's talk about the incident with Carl. Okay. Tell me about Carl. It's something I got in my notes to say. That's when you start really, really, really thinking about the higher power, and it saved me from myself. Tell us about Carl.
Yeah, because I was having little run-ins and things that would have probably landed me. Certainly, that situation would have landed me in prison, or locked away for juvenile for a long time. And so it was my stepfather who was very abusive to my mother, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a heavy drug user.
Okay.
And he just kind of came home with her one day like a lost dog, and never left. Followed her off the bus,
Okay.
and she fed him, and he ain't leave. And
Wow.
so and he came in, and like a lot of people, they present their representative until they feel comfortable enough, and then the real them comes out.
You know the story.
Sure. So he became abusive, at first to her, and then to me, and it boiled over. And for especially for young men, and being the only male in the house,
Right.
you feel like the protector already. You feel like you're the man of the house. And
Right.
so there's always that issue when there's not the father and you're not used to another man coming in for young men. And we struggle with that. And so I struggle with it. And so I was always trying to exert, I was disobedient. I was an incorrigible juvenile. And so
Oh
he
wow, I
say
love that big
something,
word. Did you say incorrigible? What is that?
incorrigible.
Oh boy. Okay, go on.
So he'll say something and I'm doing the opposite, just because of it. And then it kind of boiled over one night when I was awakened to him, throwing her on the table. And eventually, I went and got a weapon. I shot at him.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
shot
said
at him. I It was a very dark period. I was the most nervous I've ever been in my life, as you can imagine. One of the scariest moments of my life. And because I was so angry that I couldn't defend myself, that I
okay.
couldn't defend her. And
Mm-hmm.
this was the only way I knew I could defend her or defend
Mm-hmm.
myself. And so I remember closing my eyes and shooting at him. And he was gone. And it was years that I didn't know if I killed him or anything, because I was already a ward of the state and in juvenile, but I would visit from time to time.
Right,
And so
right,
I never told her. I don't know if he told her. I kept it a secret, and I lived with that secret for so long that, man, what if I killed this man?
right.
And it's gonna be at the moment, at the press, when I'm doing something great, and all of a sudden I'm gonna be they come in to put me in them chains.
It's the ID channel. They're gonna tap you on your
They're
shoulder.
gonna tap me on the shoulder. And
Like,
by the
we've been
grace of
looking for
God,
you.
I was going down the street one day, and I saw him standing on a bus stop.
Wow.
And when I say the weight of the world was lifted off, that burden of did I kill this person was lifted. And I always say, it was nothing but my angel, the grace to God that saved me from that mistake, from that would have been a tragic mistake. Not just because I would have been caught, but because I could have taken somebody's life.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, when I saw that about Carl in there, and I forgot that he was the stepfather, whatever. But that right there says that the anger and different things make you do so many bad choices.
It
That
does.
that was a bad road choice.
Whew, to say the least.
That could have cost you forever.
Forever.
Okay, you might be just not getting out if you get out. Okay,
Correct.
for what you do, but that's all speaks even more to you have to go and get the help that you need. Okay,
Yes.
everybody got some anger. Today I got on a shirt. Thou shalt not try me. Mood 24/7. Okay, don't try me. Okay, 24/7. I'm like that. I got anger problems. I know as I've gotten older, I know that I can't serve no time for that long
There
anyway.
you go. Right. I ain't trying to serve either.
That's my therapy. That's what helps me.
Yeah.
It's that, Marilyn, you can't do the time. You can't do the time. I can't do it. So I understand. So let's move forward to your relationships, okay?
Okay.
And that was good right there. That I didn't go all through the whole book of it, but I kind of popped to the end of it. And I love the fact that you fought for your legacy.
Yes.
You fought for your family. You fought for your marriage. Even though you had been through all that you went through and stuff, bad, unhealthy relationships and all that, you still fought for your marriage. And you had the part of you that was vulnerable to say, basically, let's work this out.
Yes.
Let's do this thing, okay? So how did you get there? What made you feel like I know it's your legacy, but
Yes.
some people notice the legacy, they don't care. Okay,
Sure.
but
Sure.
what made you care?
Well, I always see for a long time, and I talked about this in counseling, that I had to come to grips with the fact that my dreams for my family were my visions for it was my visions, not necessarily her vision.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to come to that conclusion for herself. Uh, but what I did know was that I had to atone for what I had done and how I had treated the emotional abuse
Uh-huh.
and, you know, I mean, grotesque emotional and verbal abuse, some of the things that I would say. And those things have lingering effects. And but I could always justify it, you know,
Okay.
but you made me do it.
Of
You
course
made
she
me say
did.
these things.
Yes.
And and it's shameful now looking back on it. But and it really just I used to say all the time, I want my daughters, I want to mirror the image or the character of the man that I want my daughters to one day marry.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't do that knowing that I had been verbally and emotionally abusive to their mother. I mean, I still could do it elsewhere, but I wanted them to see that there's redemption in God. There's redemption, that we can have a testimony that says that this is what your father suffered from, like this rage, a rager, but this can be fixed. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to fix it. And through the grace of God, I can fix it.
That's right. That's
He can
right.
help me fix this and do what I need to do in order to be a better husband and a better father for you. And
That's right.
so that was initially what it was for my children. And then I'm like, well, is that sustainable? And it need to be for me. And as I start to change, and as I'm still starting to change, I realize more and more like how beautiful that is to be able to have that testimony that this is where me and my wife came from, and to help restore her. Uh,
Yes.
but this is where it can be. like through the help of God, we can be there. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where it is.
And what I love also about it is that you're very, very honest of the fact that it just didn't come and a light bulb switched on and you
No,
start having it good like that. No, it was you put the work in. Okay. All right. Miss Mary said, wow, me too. I cannot do the time, girl. I hear you. Okay. Therefore, I will not commit the crime. Okay. All
right.
right. Okay. Then she talks again and she says, let me get it right here. Where you start is not where you have to end. Okay, have to end. One can change and do better and be better. Thank you so much for that. That is so true. And here, let me see, Miss Charlene Williams. Come on. Okay, test turn to testify. Okay, go on and just testify about it. And here go Annabelle said, I wish I knew about this book 4 months ago. Maybe it would have saved my 20-year-old great nephew. He is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder. They
Mm,
arrested him 2 weeks ago.
my
You're
God.
right. You're right. And that's the reason, Anna, why he's on here. You know, it is, I always have a lot of women on here, but when you get a man on that's going to be vulnerable and tell you, I really messed up. Okay. I know I messed up. I put in the time to make it right. And I'm constantly putting in the time to make it right. Okay. It's not a one and done type thing that's going on. Yeah. I wish it had this book too, man, because it's a really good book and it's very, very transparent. It's very okay. She said, thanks for this blessing. She said, thank you very much for the blessing of just talking about it,
Praise God.
because this stuff is real. And a lot of people are going to jail because they got so much bottled up stuff in us. People like myself, I got my own stuff and I ain't trying to do no time. You right? So I'm going to try to find people to say, I need some help, or
Sure.
I'm going to need to get by myself. I need to pray, do something. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So that because this stuff is real, it's
Right.
very real of what's going on. And in his book, A Road to Nowhere, how I'm saving myself from self-destructive behaviors that rules me. Earlier, he talked about the pain train and how it just kept on coming to his house, or it was at his house, and he was always jumping on. But now, as you see now, he's transforming himself daily, daily. He got to
Paul
fight.
said, I die daily.
Die daily. You die daily.
You have to.
God give us a daily bread. And you need that daily bread every time in order to fight this, because this stuff is real. It can have you you know, in
Bondage.
bond. Come on, talk about it. Go on and talk about the bondage. I'm listening.
Yes. Mm, mm, mm. You know what? It like I said, like I told you earlier, it really is like that life that you give it. You provide life to it and you fuel it, and it really takes control of your life. The moment I started learning about how trauma, and 70% of us experience this trauma and how it affects our
Mm-hmm.
brain, and where somebody mentioned earlier about the fight or flight response. Well, when your brain has been damaged by trauma, I saw witness my first murder at 10 years old. That affects you in a very negative way. And then when you normally, and on top of all that, I was in law enforcement and military and all this stuff. And so combined with all that old aggressive nature, just the fact of what they do,
Mm-hmm.
it really does hence road to nowhere, because you bottle it all up and you only know one answer to it, and that's fight. I don't flee from nothing.
Come on,
You know
say
what I'm
it.
saying? And that was my mentality. I don't turn
Right,
down nothing
right.
but my collar. So
That's
when
right.
I was confronted with confrontation, I'm gonna meet it head on.
Mm-hmm.
And I carry that into my house, talking to my wife. Shut up and do what I told you to do. That's not
Yeah.
how you respond to another human being
No.
who's making a conscious decision to be with you or not be with you.
Come on, say it.
That's how I was responding, because I only knew one way to deal with conflict or that emotion. I had that 14-year-old boy who was responding in a grown man situation. And that's who was taking control of my life. That same 14-year-old
Right.
who was afraid. And so I
Right.
reacted. I was just reactive. And we
Yeah.
have to stop being reactive.
Yeah. Well, people need to stop. You need to recognize that person trying to pull your chain. Okay. You have to recognize that. Robert Richards said the reason why God had you write for this testimony will be able to help someone else out. Young man sharing your book. God ain't through with you yet. The best is yet to come, sir. He's
Right.
talking to you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. Richards.
Mr. Richards.
That is so true. You got it's a reason why you wrote it. And like I said, you guys really do need to get this book. And it's just so enlightening to me. And so it's on Amazon.com, but it's also on his website. Okay. And I love his website because it's rebuilding us. That's what it is for real.
Uh-huh.
Rebuild. That's what you were saying, right?
Rebuilding us.
Rebuild at us.com. Okay. And not only does he have that when you go there and stuff, he also has t-shirts with words of affirmation on it, which I'm gonna try to share my screen. Go for it, Marilyn.
There you go. Go for it.
Go for it. I'm gonna try it. Okay. There it is. I know you guys can see it. Okay. And so I'm gonna scroll down. You see the book. You see all these different sayings, these t-shirts and everything that, hey, live like no one else, level up. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, So hey, go to his website and go to his website and get a t-shirt, support him. He goes all over talking to different people about about the things about anger and mental health and things like that. So we need to support each other. So yeah, go to his website, rebuildinus.com, and his email is rebuildingus@gmail.com. So go there and check him out. Let me see what this says. Annabelle says, this is so real and eye-opening to me. I am in tears, not knowing how to help him. My God. Yeah, it is bad. But we can save a person. Now that you know better what you say, we're going to do better, okay?
Better.
Get this book, and you can take this book and show somebody else. It's not you by yourself, okay? A lot of times I think just studying mental health and all that and stuff, suicide, okay, wait, hold on. Miss Mary says she missed the intro. Where you from?
Right here. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
He from St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. From a place in the area where it's not really friendly. Okay. It's friendly.
But at least it wasn't. Now it's been gentrified.
Okay, yeah. But before in the 80s, it was not. Drive-by shoot, all of that, Yeah. So right across the river in what they call the Lou, St. Louis, Missouri. So that's where he's from. But
and can I say one thing for anybody who is listening or watching this? I waited for so long to provide my testimony, and because sometimes we get inhibited by fear because we think that people don't want to hear it or they can't learn from it, or we think that because we haven't reached the pinnacle of our career or wherever we want to be, that we can't provide a testimony to people. And God can use your story. So I just want to encourage anybody who has ever thought about writing and they want to publish a book and they want to go for it and tell their story, that I am more than happy to walk you through how I did it and those steps and what you need to do. And I encourage you to write, to put out that book, to invent that product, whatever it is that you have going on. Do not be afraid to tell your story. You can help people and you don't even realize.
Right. And I'm glad you said something about what you did. He said he is an inventor. And so he did invent Resolve. That's the name of it. RESOLVE. And it's an interactive software game. Okay. And it helped people reverse maladaptive behavior by altering the responses to life's most troubling issues. What kind of game is this? Tell us a little bit without telling us a lot of it, okay? You know what I'm saying?
So that on that patent, that game, it gives you interactive, real life situations, which is why I got into film and video. Mm-hmm. So it films real world situations, reenacted, of course, that you encounter within your life. So you have for your youth and the things that they deal with at school and bullying or whatever, and your marriage, it deals with infidelity, it deals with flirting, all these things. And how do you respond in these situations? Your experiences and your education level and all that stuff will dictate how you respond in these situations. Now it partners with mental health professionals that kind of tell you more adaptive ways of dealing with the fact of jealousy. But you got to be vulnerable. You got to say, hey, look, instead of saying what you looking at her for, him for, or whatever, it's approaching it differently. Like, this is how that made me feel. You know what I mean? And that's hard especially for men to do that. but it's necessary if we're going to have productive relationships that don't continue to leave our divorce rate at what it is. So we
That's
have to change the dynamic to save our families, because I think it all starts with our families.
right.
So that's what Resolve is. And it is, again, it's interactive games that you play in a group. It's fun. And then you choose the response. Whoever has the most right responses wins. So that's what it
Okay,
is.
so is it out already?
It is not out. It is still in development, because I have another patent called the tech table, the electronic tech table. And
Okay,
so that's in the works now. And so
okay,
I kind of put Resolve, I put it on hold, so to speak,
okay,
in terms of the
okay.
development part.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I plan on releasing that this year, though.
Okay, super. So please make a note to come back on my show, please.
Definitely, definitely.
Because like I'm having sisters doing it, I'm eventually have brothers doing it.
Okay,
Okay.
all
So
right.
it would be the resolve game. Okay. I gotta show you what Charlene says. As a man, I thank you for being transparent. Most men suffer in silence.
Yes, yes, we do. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, and that's so true. They just suffer. They won't say nothing. Okay, you know. Let me see. And murder suicides are way up. We need some resolve, some
yes,
honest dialogue. You're
yes.
right. You're right. And then Mr. Robert Richards says God is using you, sir, to reach the young people that's coming up right. That the power of the Holy Ghost hits you and your family right now.
Praise
Robert Richards, we're gonna have to have you on my show, okay? Because you
praise
you
God.
going all the way in there, okay? Right. Okay, because we need more people to be transparent. African Americans always trying to act like that's just the way Uncle Joe do. You know, he get drunk and beat up on folks. Okay, no, Uncle Joe needs to be dealt with. Okay.
Yes, Uncle Joe has problems.
Uncle Joe has problems. So we want to say that's Uncle that's Uncle Joe. And I'm like, no, no, we have to be like this, okay? We each one need to reach one. If you see somebody just keep acting the same way, that's not necessarily the way they act. They can't. It is the way they act, but they can't help the way they act.
Sure.
Okay,
Right.
and so you need to be that person that intercedes, if you will, to
Yes.
get them and find some place that they make go, because suicide in African Americans it's going up. It's like, what? The kids are killing themselves. The kids killing themselves in school. I mean, what? What is this? So we really have to understand that. So Octavia Monique says amazing conversation. Dating is hard because lots of men won't seek therapy. Come on, say that twice. I'll say it. Dating is hard because lots of men won't seek therapy. It's like they think it makes them less than a man. What you
You know
want
what?
to do that?
Can I comment
Please.
on this, Monique? See, so that is very true, right? There is a stigma associated with mental health. Nobody wants to be called crazy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it took me a long time to get over that. To say, you know what? I don't care what other people think. Seeking the validation, that was the narcissist in me. I don't care about that now. Now I care about being a better version of me. But
Ah,
the other thing is that we don't feel safe even with our own women sometimes. And so, because myself have even been told you're weak, and so therefore I didn't want to open up. And so I being who I am and what I've gone through, I retained it all. I compartmentalized it, and I'm like, you're right. I'm strong. I ain't gonna say nothing else. And so
okay.
we go through life, and then we have a heart attack, and we die early.
Right, right,
You
right.
are right. We do need to open up. We need to stop. And more men, like I'm hoping, that join me and we start to talk about it and make men feel more. And I encourage our women too to also say that it's okay to say that you have a problem, and I'm here to help you through it.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I like that, Octavia. Thank you so much. She also wrote, "Yep, you said it. Women can be so put a bunch of O's after that S. Toxic." I go to therapy to be helped. Thank you very
There
much,
you go. There
Octavia.
you go. I tell you,
It ain't nothing wrong with it because you go to the dentist when you're sick,
you
right?
got to get
But
checked
when
out.
your head hurt, you might go to the doctor. He give you some medicine. But when the activity in your brain hurts, you need to go get some help.
Right.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not shameful if we can stop the stigma.
Yes.
Okay, and like I said, each one reach one. Okay, somebody got their heart broken or whatever. You see them in the house, not because of COVID-19. They've been in the house too long, not doing anything. You need to move to the side and say, hey, you need to move this around. a little
Yes.
bit. Okay.
Yes.
Are you okay? We got to do that for each other. We just can't be out here saying, well, girl, she just ain't gonna never get over it and stuff. Girl, he wasn't that good anyway. Really? But
Right.
something else is wrong with her.
Sure. Yeah.
Something else is wrong with her. You
My
know?
cousin, my cousin committed suicide a few years ago on Christmas Day, and that impacted me like none other because I thought he was okay.
See,
And and so had I always feel like, and I know better now, but I feel like at times had I been able to reach out and say and ask him these questions and talk to him, that maybe he wouldn't have done it. But he had other things going on that he needed help that I couldn't have helped him with.
that's right. And guess what? People that have suicide ideation do not have it written on their head, I want to kill myself.
So
Okay. They do not have that on it. We've seen it too much in the news about people. I mean, cheerleaders. What I mean, in our mind, they got it going on, but in their mind, they don't. Okay. And people are not listening to them. They so ashamed of saying something. So they do have some training. I don't know if you heard of this before, Corwin. It's called QPR.
QPR, yes.
Question, persuade, and refer. It's a 1 hour class, and anybody could take it to help you to question people. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody ain't gonna open up to you. Okay, you might see a perfect stranger and walk up to him. Are you okay? And he started to tell you your whole life. Then you want to call 911. Or you know what I'm saying? You need to help that person. But QPR is a Q, a P, and an R can help you to understand and to stop some of the suicide that's going on. Because people that's threatening that they want to kill themselves, they're not playing. They're not playing. They just maybe are scared to go out with it, but they're not playing. And that one time when they're telling you might be their last time. Okay.
Yeah.
Annabelle says, amen. Now, I do want to show something else here that you have let me find it. You have a YouTube channel called Rebuild in Us, right?
Yep.
So you guys need to go out there and look for that too. So what happens on this channel? What you talking about on there?
So it's based on the podcast, which is Rebuilding Us. And so I upload stuff on the podcast, a lot of stuff with the filming. I'm starting to film more things related to mental health, and I'll be putting out short films and things like that on there. I filmed my wife is an actress.
Wow.
So she was in the Gift of Grace, New Husband for Christmas on Amazon.
Oh,
and
wow.
So she was also in a play most recently called Change the Passage. And so I filmed a lot of that, the live musical. So I uploaded a lot of that on the YouTube page.
Okay, great. Speaking of things that you're doing and stuff, you got a new documentary coming out this year. You're bringing, let me see, you're writing your next book. You plan to build your first cabin in the Ozarks. Watch out for Netflix, Ozark. Don't be fooling with them, okay?
Right. No, I want nothing to do with that.
Don't know about Wendy and Wendy. Don't deal with them. Okay.
No mafia involvement.
Don't get with them, okay?
No casinos.
I got Netflix problem, but no, that is good. Now, let me get 2 quotes that you said, and this is going to probably wrap our show up for the night. It's been great. Let each day be better than the day before. Why don't you unpack that for us?
Yeah, for a long time, I used to say that each day is either efficient or it's a failure, right? And so I have to be moving closer. And then now realizing that I needed to incorporate more of the spiritual in my life. And so now that's reading the word and learning. Because I can read books and I can learn all this stuff, but I couldn't dissect the word. I couldn't sit there and really have a conversation about the word, the stuff that really I needed to permeate my life to make the changes. So it's really just spending time, whether it's through the word, if you're a faith, if you're a believer, if that is a goal that you have, that is making sure that each day is efficient. You do something that works yourself towards the goal. Stop procrastinating. And just remember that, hey, look, I need to do something better today, or do something today that I didn't do yesterday to keep moving me forward. So keep moving forward.
That's right. And Annabelle said, I'm not ready to end it. she like this every week. Here's another one that you said, let's stop functioning in our dysfunction. Okay, you talked about that the whole time.
Yeah, I
It.
mean, we
You,
walk through life. You know, it's no different from an alcoholic. You know, they function too. They go to work. They're drug addicts. You know, I've had family with who are drug addicts who function, and you didn't know, right? And we do the same thing with our mental health. We can be walking around with life size problems, and it manifests itself in how we deal with each other, how we love. It affects every part of your life. But you, as long as you functioning, you like, and people they accept it. They accept the fact that they not right. So we say things like, "Well, I ain't perfect." Okay, well, that's an axiom. We know that.
we know that.
We
Okay.
know that. But are you doing something to change the way, to be better? Right? Stop
Yeah,
functioning in that dysfunction. If you're having confrontation with people and you can't seem to make friends, the Bible says, show yourself friendly, be friends to make friends.
that's right.
So if you're not doing that, there's a reason. So stop functioning just because you like, hey, look, I can get along. I mean, I'm here. That's what my counselor used to say. Why do you want to do this? Because you're functioning. Like, she's like, you made it all this time. You're successful in this. But I knew that I was still angry. I knew that I was still verbally abusive. So why do
Mhm.
I want to function in that? I want to deal with the problem
That's
head
right.
on.
And you know what, people, we start to learn coping skills with that too, and
We
how to
do.
get
That's what
around.
it ultimately, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you
That's what
start
it
to
comes.
get around it because you say they don't know I'm mad all the time or I'm angry. They
Nope.
don't know that. They don't know this. But I can function,
Right.
but you still wanted your head to be right.
Right.
That's all. I just want my head to be right.
Oh,
You know. Okay. Well, look, we are getting ready to end this, and he has another engagement, and this has been really super great. Okay. I
mhm.
appreciate your transparency. I appreciate you coming on and just giving us the real deal on this thing. From a man's perspective. Annabelle said it's a good word. This is like a breath of fresh air. Just giving us the male perspective, and I think that if we can get more males to talk about what you talking about, I think we can probably save a whole tribe. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yes. Yes.
I feel that strongly.
So
So
do I.
I said thank you so much. And of course, I always end my show with a real talk like Jerry Springer, final thoughts, but I got this from you. You said seek the help. He said seek the help they need. I put you. Seek the help you need and commit to doing the work to get better.
Yes.
Okay? That's what you said, and that's my final real talk for tonight. Let's see what the comments are saying. Charlene said, Amen. Thank you so much. And hey, next week, we're going to have, I mean, not next week, I keep saying that. Monday, June 6th, we're going to have sisters doing it. So please tune in again. And thank you so much, Mr. Watson. And we are
Definitely.
going to keep our eye on you for everything that you're doing now. And we appreciate you greatly for coming on. So, you guys have been listening to Marilyn Green with my guest, Mr. Corwin T. Watson. Okay. And you are listening to Girl Who Don't You Know. So you know me. I'm the talk show girl. I'm the baby boomer. Hear me roar. So until next time, oh boy, here goes some more comments. I gotta get them.
Uh,
Okay. Acknowledge acknowledgement is true. Grace of God is using you. Remember that the best is yet to come, and it's never too late to make a change. When we know better, we do better. And then Miss Anna says thank you. And I thank everybody who joined us today. All right. Thanks so much. You
Thank
take care.
you.
Bye bye.